I remember telling the media after the game, it's a mechanical cue. This will never happen again. And then sure enough, it happened again. And then for the next 4 years, I battled trying to find that consistency, that control, and become the pitcher that I was before that happened.
And I imagine every single pitch, you're thinking about, do I have control of this or not?
Every single pitch, every single minute of every day, it consumes you. That's the thing. You can't just leave it at the field. When you go home, you're wondering why I can't figure this out. When you start to look around at the other guys that have had this, you start to realize that a lot of guys don't recover. So it's not, it's lonely, it's dark, it's scary, because it's not the same thing as a physical injury where you can just go have an operation. It's something you're looking at like, I might not ever pitch again.
Well, I remember Chuck Knobloch, I'm a Twins fan, stopped being able to throw it from second to first base. I mean, it just becomes a psychological thing. But you made a decision to change. You didn't quit. You said, I'm going to do something different. Talk about that.
Yeah, so in 2005, I came into spring training and I was still pitching, and the injuries and the mental fortitude that it took for me to get it right, to throw strikes, because at the time I came back, I felt like I could help a team win, I could throw strikes, but I wasn't that same young, invincible, throwing high to mid-90s. And what it took was all-day mental training, just from the time I woke up to the time I went to sleep, and I felt like my entire personality was changing. So I knew there was time to change. Baseball should be fun. This career should be fun. I was young. I was 25. I dealt with it for 4 years. So I knew I needed to make a switch. So then I switched over to play the outfield, which is kind of an unheard of thing in baseball. A lot of organizations wouldn't even let guys do that back then. And thankfully, the Cardinals gave me the opportunity. I switched back, and 7 years later, I made it back to the big leagues as an outfielder, as a center fielder.
As a center fielder, hit over 50 home runs, as we mentioned. It's one thing to see an injury, a guy physically injured, but as a fan, I'm sure, or fellow teammates, they're probably saying, hey, what's going on here? I mean, it's got to be different to deal with this sort of that mental challenge.
Yeah, it's almost a taboo thing, and I remember it happening to Chuck Knobloch. And even as a young player, I remember watching TV and saying, hey, what's wrong with this guy? Just throw it, how hard can it be? Just throw it to first. Until it happened to me. And then I started to understand. And the one thing is for your teammates, now this becomes real. It becomes something they probably haven't really seen before. It becomes real and scary because now they know it can happen to them. So it's one of those things where they want to put their arm around you, but at the same time, they almost don't want to look at it because it might rub off on them.
Wow, inspiring story. Rick Ankiel, the book is The Phenomenon. Could you throw a pitch for us today?
Yes.
Okay. We might take you up on that. But hey, happy Easter, Rick. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.